I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
He is terrible!
We gotta know how many wieners are going down these dudes' throats.
I'm gonna go quick because I don't give a fuck about anything that's gonna happen on Saturday.
Hello, boys! We're back for another edition of, drumroll please, the MMA Analysis podcast. It's the end of May. Canada's on a national holiday. Brad's not here because of it. Nushan, I guess, is getting, we're paying him time and a half for him to show up. Nushan, I'm going to start with you tonight. How pumped are you? A Toronto-based team in a final? Canada, a Canadian team in a basketball final? This is the first.
It's wild,
probably a last.
No, it won't. Yeah, it might be the last. But I'll take it, man. I love the Raptors. That's the thing. Like, I only hate Toronto when it comes to hockey. I mean, other than that, I claim them in baseball and in basketball. And
you got your own hockey team, though.
Yeah, I got my own hockey team. So yeah, it's exciting. I was somewhat shocked to see them get through Milwaukee, and it should be a fun round. I don't know how long it goes. We'll see. It should be fun, however long it lasts.
Wes, you're back.
Well,
what's up?
Yeah, I mean, well, Sean and the people of the Great White North, they got a couple things working for them. I mean, our boy, the massive mush Ben is on the Warriors, pretty strong tonight, and Paul Pierce just picked the Warriors to win it, so he's like fucking king pick mush now.
Is he? Is that the
thing? Yeah.
He said the Bucks had it after game 2. I'm pretty sure he tweeted
after game 2, and they got swept.
And then they didn't win a game after that. And they had only lost back-to-back games once the entire year, and they lost 4 straight to the Raps.
Wow.
I think it's pretty cool though that the Raptors have made a final though. I remember when those teams came into the league. I'm that old, them in Vancouver, and I mean, if people didn't get to witness like Vince Carter, fucking Air Canada type shit, that was an awesome time in the NBA, man. It's pretty cool to see the Raps get up there. But I mean, it's all comes down to having in the NBA, it's players, man. And when you get a guy like Kawhi Leonard, when you can make that type of trade, you go for it. Whether he leaves now or not, like it was all worth it. Toronto to make a final, he could walk now, and it was all worth it. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, it's pretty cool, and I don't think Kawhi's going to be there next year, so I'd really enjoy it if I was y'all. Whether I don't think they're going to win it personally, but you never know, and I'd enjoy the ride.
Yeah, and I mean that's the cool thing. Regardless if it's Toronto, I think it's cool to see a team kind of just like go all in when it looks like they have a shot. They went for it. They traded away a guy that was a pretty big deal to their team in DeRozan to get an elite player and go for it, even if it might not work out in the long run. But I think that's very cool, and it's cool to see it kind of worked out.
Pro sports are about winning now. Like all the people that talk about, well, we're building for the future and this and that. It's like, man, a lot of times management and stuff doesn't last.
Who knows what the fuck could happen?
Yeah, it's tough in basketball because the salary caps can screw you for years. So you gotta be a little more careful.
But if you have a chance of literally making it to a final, when you get a piece like Kawhi Leonard, you have to do that in today's pro sports. It's about winning now. I mean, you see so many teams doing it, especially in basketball. Though guys will trade for dudes on contract years to try to go all in and win titles. It might work out. Like I said, though, I don't think Kawhi is going to be there next year. So you got at least they made it. At least they made a final. Like it is worth it now. Like making a final, being in the East and making a final is as good as it gets in today's NBA. Because, I mean, imagine if KD was lacing them up for this series, you're probably going to get swept. You know what I'm saying? So making it to the final was the big prize for most teams in the East, and they got there. So now it's all house money. I mean, no KD. You never know, man. When you got a guy like Kawhi playing how he's playing, one dude on a heater like that can take you a long way in this league, man. You never know.
Wes, did you see who signed for Bellator? One of the greatest kickboxers of all time. Yeah. Robin Van Roosmalen.
That's going to be exciting. Ridiculous, man. Yeah, he's fought a little MMA already, but Scott Coker's smart. He's going to set him up with some cans to fucking highlight real knockout, and I'm going to love it. I'll be there for every second of it.
Yeah, he could be good. Great athlete.
Yeah, now we just need Rico in the big show, and you got.
Yeah, we've been talking about that for a long time.
two of the best kickboxers. Dream. Yeah, two of the best kickboxers on the planet. If we can get Rico there, man, it'd be nice. See, it's sad because you got the other side of the coin, like guys like Andy Sauer, who were just literally untouchable 5 or 6 years ago in kickboxing, one of the best on the planet of all time. And they move over so late, man, and they just get their shit pushed in, and it's sad to see.
Yeah, it's sad. Yeah, that's the problem with all that. It's sometimes it's just too late. But
Gary Toonan though was going full time early.
That's right.
As far as the guy going straight from jiu-jitsu and MMA, he's quitting jiu-jitsu or the tournament aspect and going all in on MMA. And that dude he's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, he's a grappling virtuoso. That's for sure. Grappling's a totally different game. It's different now. Yeah, it's interesting times. We'll see where that goes. We got, PFL's in season, so that's always West, how have you liked that so far?
The other night, the card the other night was fun. I mean, it was a bunch of knockouts. I mean, when these early rounds, man, there's some kind of shitty matchups a lot on the card, but they've been like just great knockouts and highlight real stuff. So it's been pretty fun so far. I love what PFL does, man. They've had a lot of guys fall off with injury out of a couple of these tournaments already this year. A lot of guys that have pulled out. So not sure how good it's going to look as far as the level of competition.
They're still fighting for $1 million, so it's still kind of cool.
Yeah, and it's Thursday night fights, tournament style. I'm down for that every day of the week, man. We got Tuesday night Contender Series coming back, I believe, sometime this month, the end of June or something like that.
Yeah, pretty soon. I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have a lot of it's smart business, too, because you just don't have a lot going on in the summertime outside of fucking baseball. And, who wants to fucking watch baseball?
Free agency.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, the NBA offseason is usually more entertaining than fucking baseball. So
it certainly is.
Yeah, I'm down for Thursday night, Tuesday night fights. I love it in the summertime.
Yeah, and it's a quick show. It has a purpose. Yeah, I mean, we've long been fans of that format and that platform. Hopefully that means less tough. And there's only one Vegas show during International Fight Week this year, so a welcome change, I guess. No tough and no show. So those going to Vegas will only get to see the great Jonathan Dwight do his thing. That's who doesn't want to see that? Yeah, so not much else going on. It's been fairly quiet. Like I said, there's been some releases in the UFC. No flyweights on the roster, it seems. The UFC is in the CBD oil business now. I guess that's not really too much of a surprise. And yeah, I think that basically covers what's been going on outside the cage. Am I forgetting something?
No, love the Love the fucking Elias fucking.
Oh
fuck
yeah.
sticks. The Elias
Right.
fuck sticks running around like,
Oh.
he loses one fight. Look at all the fights he won. Like, dude, this is the entertainment business. Like,
That's
shut the fuck up.
right.
He was the worst fucking thing to watch on television. Like,
People
Yeah.
are comparing it to the Fitch thing. The Fitch thing was way more egregious, considering
Yeah, 'cause-
who he had beaten.
Well, yeah, and
But
Fitch was a
Fitch wanted
title
money.
contender.
and he wanted big money. Like, what are they paying Elias? They cut Elias not because of money, because he fucking sucks to watch. Period. It wasn't about money. Like that dude's making like 12 and 12 and shit.
Let me see what Fitch did. He lost He lost to Damian Maia and got cut. Yeah.
That was
Same
just,
thing with, remember Jake Shields got cut too? It's kind of the same vein. I mean, those guys
wanted
those guys are grapplers, so it's a bit different, but
Yeah.
and they wanted to get paid like.
And
big
those are
money.
bigger names, also guys who were champions
Danny
or
Green
fought for
Danny Green already hit a 3.
no surprise there.
I'm sure I think we all played the over. So just
You
Yeah.
know it.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Danny Green's gonna hit like 7 threes tonight. This motherfucker's gonna go Steph Curry. Good stuff.
Yeah, not too much. Personally, I got some tickets to UFC 240, which is coming to Edmonton. That's the Frankie Edgar Max Holloway fight. Looks like the co-main for that guy is the return of Cyborg after the Nunes knockout. She's fighting the non-Canadian Canadian.
That's y'all's girl. Y'all claiming her. Your entire
Canadian
media
pound
landscape.
for pound, number 4.
Your entire media landscape up there is claiming that girl. Come on, dude.
I know the journalists are definitely claiming her, but I sure as hell am not. She's been living in Florida since she was 4 years old. So, if there's anything more un-Canadian than living in Florida, I don't know what it is. So I'm gonna assume. I think Cyborg's just gonna absolutely wreck her, and the line will probably show that. So that's kind of unfortunate, but yeah, we'll see when it comes out.
She's like not that good. Like, come on, man. And
She's a decent grappler, and that's about it. But good luck doing that against Cyborg.
Yeah. And hell, I said it before the show. Like, you live that many years in Florida. There's parts of the northern United States that won't even claim your ass anymore. So, Canadian, come on. What about the Frankie Max rematch? That just seems kind of like.
Here's the
Frankie Max rematch. They haven't fought.
Well, no, they were supposed
yeah.
to, and then Max pulled out, and then Frankie had to fight Ortega, and then obviously we know what happened there. Yeah, I mean the UFC was just forced to do this because they needed a title fight for a pay-per-view card, and pretty much every title is tied up for that time of the year, and they kind of owed Frankie for taking that fight last second, so here we are.
Yeah, it just kind of seems a little meh, just like something that.
Yeah, I just don't know.
Like
Like,
shot 10 threes already in 3 minutes.
I don't know what else they're gonna do there. I mean, Volkanovski is not ready. I know they announced that before the whole like blood clot or whatever the hell in blood infection.
I didn't hear about a blood clot.
No, he got an infection and he had to stop. Like when he fought Aldo, something happened.
You didn't know it, Jay?
And he had to stop in like Chile and have surgery or something like that. Yeah, so he's
he could have lost his leg and shit.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And
he didn't make it home for like
Zabit?
3 weeks.
What's Zabit up to?
I think they just don't think. I mean, Frankie Edgar's a much bigger name than Zabit, and they kind of owed Frankie for taking that fight. I think their thoughts are Max is going to beat Frankie, and then they're going to do the Australian card in the big stadium in the late summer, and that'll be against Volkanovski, and that's kind of what their thoughts are.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to give Canada a couple of names for sure.
Yeah, and like I said, there's just nobody like they the UFC is, I don't know if they have a deal with ESPN or if they're just standing by it, but they think that they must have a title fight, whether it's an interim, a bullshit interim title fight, or a real one. It has to have at least one on a pay-per-view card, so they're kind of forced to do these matchups that don't always make 100% sense when it comes to rankings and stuff like that. So, what can you
for
do?
all the Mookie fights that have been, announced and injuries, that card in Chicago a week from now is pretty good.
Yep, that's gonna be a fun one.
And is there a bigger fucking?
I think there might be a lock on that card
than this motherfucker Ariel Helwani. Like seriously,
he likes his team.
Dude, this guy literally is been a fan since childhood of fucking 2017s, dude. I just, man, every time somebody makes it to a final, this dude's like, been cheering for these dudes since I was a kid. Oh, man.
How many teams do you think? Hawani's like a fan of 27 sports teams.
At least.
Like 4 leagues. Yeah.
At least. Hell, the other day he was talking about Liverpool making it to the final. He's like, even as a lifelong Everton fan.
Oh my God.
What are you talking about?
A lifelong Everton fan, but then he also liked Leicester City.
He was the lifelong Leicester fan when he was
lifelong.
He's worse than Drake, man.
Yeah.
He's worse than Drake.
He couldn't find Leicester on a map.
I said he couldn't find Leicester on a map. Yeah, dude, that guy just, man. Every time somebody makes it to a final, dude, lifelong fan, bro.
Well, I have a lock for next week's card. We'll talk about it next week.
Works for me.
I'm sure it'll be part of a parlay that we'll discuss next week. But yes, so this week we're going to Sweden again. That's always kind of fun. Unfortunately, big letdown earlier this week.
Earlier today.
We found out, I guess it was today, or was it last night?
It was today.
The Horse Lord, friend of the MMA Analysis, very good, I would say, very good friend of the MMA Analysis podcast, will not be fighting anymore against Vulcan. I was looking forward to that fight more than any fight on this card. And not happening, which is a bummer. So, bit of a watered down event. We got a 12-fight card in Stockholm, Sweden. Like I said, usually pretty good atmosphere at these events. So we'll see how they do when they don't recognize anyone until the 4th fight on the card. The first fight is Joel Alvarez. We've seen him once taking on something called Danudu Baluru. I mean, who is that?
Is he Irish? No, what is that?
Hello, Barudu?
Oh, he's Italian.
Menudo.
Yeah, he's a Venator FC veteran. Respect that man's name.
What else could he be? Nushan, I don't know if you have any thoughts. Wes, I think you had a couple thoughts on this fight.
Yeah, go ahead, Wes, to start.
Yeah, not too much. We was discussing it. This dude's just an absolute fucking trash can. He's fighting just some really bad guys. I know he took a step up a while back. He actually got to fight AJ McKee over in Bellator and just got his shit pushed in. And I don't think Joe Alvarez is like great or anything. He didn't look bad against Ismagulov, and we know how good that is.
He's good.
Yeah, he's very good. And he went to a decent decision with him, man. And Alvarez is fucking long as hell, man. He's durable. I think the line might be a little bit off here. I figured Alvarez would be a little bit more of a favorite, honestly. Maybe minus 175 or so here. I'm gonna have to play Alvarez. It's not gonna be big or anything, but I just think he's way better than this dude, man. So prove me wrong at minus 115. I'll take a little bitty piece of that.
Nushan, any thoughts on this one?
Not too much.
Danny Green, 5 points.
You betcha. Just saw that.
One more basket, boys.
Bellawardo, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, is pretty pretty big can crusher. Other than the last guy he fought, the three guys before that were 4-5, 6-6, and 8-11. So he's been crushing cans in Italy. I thought the Ismagulov loss is not a terrible look. I'll pick Alvarez, but yeah, I don't want to play him. Like Wes said, I think he should win this matchup. I just can't really trust a guy of his caliber, even if he is going against a shit fighter.
I got Joel Alvarez at D. I agree with Wes. Longer, I know it's one fight, but has UFC experience, and he just seems like there's more there to him. I don't know how you can really be confident at all, just because this is just a brand new guy who really comes with no fanfare. I mean, you can't put anything significant on it, but yeah, I mean, I agree that Alvarez should be at least like a small to modest favorite in this fight. It shouldn't be a pick'em. So we'll leave it at that. Next fight, we got Darko Stosic taking on Devin Clark. Battle of the D's. Wes?
Yeah, man, I mean, Devin Clark might be a little bit better of a fighter overall than Stosic is. But man, he is just, that chin is fucking terrible, dude. And he's going to get hit in this fight. Is he going to be able to take the bombs that is going to get thrown at him? I mean, we've seen the last two times that he's fought a dude with some decent power. He's been hurt. This is another one that, man, the line's just telling me I'm going to have to take a little stab here. This is more of a fade of Clark than anything, but I think he's going to get caught with something eventually, and he's going to get knocked out. So I'm going to take a little Stokey here. I'm maybe looking at knockout. That's about 50, 60 cents better, but it's usually like a little more on something like that. But I think that's how he gets it done, and I'm going to sprinkle on either him straight or by KO here.
Sean?
Devin Clark, had a bit of success against Rakic. I just think that's poor defense on Rakic's part before he eventually got knocked out. Like Wes said, he's got that sketchy chin. Stosic definitely seems like he has some pretty good power. Tough to know what Stosic is. He went against Jeremy Kimball, who's a pretty terrible fighter. So it's hard to judge a guy. It was his UFC debut, so I'm staying away. The pick's definitely going to be Stosic to get a knockout. But I think there's a couple better spots on this card for bets.
Yeah, I got both guys at D. Nushan, I think, broke this one down pretty good. Clark, definitely, he has like positive moments, and then it just kind of falls apart on him. He's small. That's a big part of it. He's undersized. His chin is definitely a question mark. And Stosic hits hard. We don't know exactly what we got from him, but from what I saw, it looked pretty good. But again, poor competition, so it's hard to really suggest or to again lay a lot on this, just because we don't fully know what we got from Stosic. But definitely some positivity there. I think he gets it done too. Definitely a pretty strong lean on Darko Stosic. Next fight could be one of the worst fights in UFC history. A combined 4 professional fights between these two mooks.
Ooh.
I'm not even going to do anything.
Sure Dog's saying 5, so put some respect on that name.
Tapology says 4. Duda Santana. Duda taking on Bia Malecki.
Why?
Nothing. Nushan, tell me what you're going to bet the over.
No. Can we just cancel this fight? Hopefully.
Why is this happening?
I don't know.
All I know is I thought our boy Dudas was a pizza maker, and I didn't know he was a chick. So like I'm confused there. You know what I'm saying?
Turns out he's from Brazilian.
Turns out he's Brazilian, a chick, and does not make pizza. You lying piece of shit.
Yeah, I guess he's just a shitty bantamweight, and we're gonna have to watch him fight. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just act like this didn't happen. Work for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. Next fight, though, you might as well. That's a great bathroom break moment, or just like you got to get up because this is This is an afternoon card, I assume. This is Oh, is that Danny Green?
No,
damn
Van
it.
Vliet.
Oh, Van Vliet. I got excited. I thought we were at the number in the first quarter. Yeah. So, yeah, you might be, making Belgian waffles or, Canadian bacon, maybe some Swiss cheese, put a nice sandwich together from different countries. And then, get to see Frank Camacho and Nick Hein go at it.
Yeah, it's perfect timing. That's that fight's probably going to go on around like 11 o'clock Eastern.
Perfect. Maybe get your first drinking for the day. Yeah, it's good timing, and Camacho never puts on a boring fight. Wes, this one has to be decent, right? It's Camacho. Come on.
But it's also Nick Hein who likes to get really, really juiced up and get really body with you. And
Camacho has 3 UFC Fight of the Nights in his 4 UFC appearances.
Yeah, that dude's he's a fun fighter, man. I think he's in some trouble here with Hein, man. I see a path for Hein. I mean, I think we've seen guys like Dober and guys like Jangalang that they're just a little bigger. I think a little stronger. Hein's he's short, but this dude's gonna be jacked the fuck up. I just think he can come forward with Camacho. Camacho's really good when he can come forward and throw a lot of punches and get off with his strikes. And Hein makes that really hard, man. Hein's going to want to get inside. He's going to want to dirty this up. And I think he can do that. And we've seen Camacho kind of, I don't want to say fades because he's always trying to do something, but his technique gets really, really bad the longer his fights go. And Hein that's what Hein is. Hein is very technical. So I like Hein here, man. Especially overseas, man. That dude, if you don't think that they can't get away with a little bit of more of that fucking them yams over there in fucking Sweden and Europe, and when they're fighting over there, they absolutely do. And Hein's going to be fucking jacked up. So, at around even money, I got to take a little shot here. I like Hein.
Sean.
I like Hein as well. Just for a small play, I got him at I think a -110 for a unit. I think the skill gap is fairly big here. Camacho kind of counters that with just being tough and coming forward. He keeps himself in a lot of fights that he definitely shouldn't, considering the skill gap. But I think Hein will be able to jab him enough and keep him away to start putting some damage on him, slow him down, and then Camacho will just start winging those hays that he always does, and Hein should be able to get away from them. I think Hein probably wins a 29-28, possibly even 30-27 decision. So yeah, picks Hein, but not big bet there.
Okay, I have Hein a D+, Camacho a D+. Here's a few things, though. Camacho, 7-inch reach advantage. He's 5 years younger, and he has a lot more volume. He's like Wes mentioned, he's aggressive going forward. That's certainly one of his strengths. And I mean, Hein, for all like his judo expertise, they always talk about he's got great judo. It's more used for defensive grappling and just avoiding being taken down as opposed to an offensive threat. I just don't think Nick Hein does enough. And facing a guy, I mean, I'm kind of surprised Camacho is that much bigger, but he is than Hein. Taller, longer reach, significantly longer reach, and I just think that Camacho's just going to win on volume. That's really the difference here. So I'm going to take Frank Camacho to get it done in a mild, I guess we'll call it a mild upset. I think that's very well. It's not even really an upset.
No,
it's a pick-em, but we'll see how the line moves. Next fight up, we got Harlem Heat, Stevie Ray taking on another Santos. This time, the Ninja Turtle Leonardo. All right, Wes.
Yeah, man, Santos has been a little bit of an overachiever, I think, in some fights. But man, just his damn the fights he's had over the past few years, man. If you was looking at a horse racing program, you just see line after line after line, because this dude's got like just massive breaks in time. He's only got a couple fights in a few years, hasn't fought in over 2 years. And I just don't see how you jump right back in against a guy like Stevie Ray, and you're that big of a favorite in this spot. I mean, I know Stevie Ray had a couple bad losses. Thought he beat a decent dude last time out. And man, the cat's still only like 29 years old, man. So I think people are kind of writing Stevie Ray off a little too soon here. I think this is a pretty good spot for him, man. Fighting a Brazilian, flying all the way over off a 2-year layoff, and plus 175. I'll take a little of that, man. I think he could outbox Santos for a few rounds and win an easy decision here. So, yeah, Stevie Ray plus 175 for me.
Sean,
how insane is it that the last time that Santos fought was when we all lost money to him, all watching him fight Adriano Martins in Vegas?
Jesus,
that is a long ass time.
That was frustrating.
That's 2.5 years ago, man. That's crazy.
And a long time ago.
2.5 years. He has 3 fights in about a 4-year gap.
That's crazy.
And yeah, he's a big favorite. I haven't played Stevie Ray yet. I was looking at him by decision. Not enough price difference for my liking to take him by decision. If I'm going to take him, it'll probably be just straight up. Stevie Ray is a decent fighter. Like Wes said, lost to Paul Felder. That was a bit surprising, getting finished by Paul Felder there. And then the loss to Caden Johnson, which, I don't know. Caden Johnson seems to be competitive in certain fights.
Was streaking at that time.
He was streaking, and in a straight just kickboxing match, he actually does all right against guys that are okay. So I guess that loss isn't as bad as kind of it looks. It's just tough to know what the hell Leonardo Santos is at right now. I get why people are taking some shots on Stevie Ray, and I still might do it. I just think that number's too big considering the layoff and things like that. So yeah, I'll pick Stevie Ray in Tailmaster, and I'm still thinking about betting him.
I have Santos C, Stevie Ray a D+. Here's I said this before the show when we were talking. The thing with Santos is he never seems like a guy who should win, but then finds ways to win fights that you don't think you'd win, like the Adriano Martins fight. Stevie Ray seems like a guy that should win fights and then doesn't. Kind of underperforms. And that's kind of like the struggle I see is, it's very tempting to bet Ray here, given the Santos layoff and just kind of the skill sets. One guy, like I said, one guy always overperforms and one guy underperforms. So with that in mind, I'll take the lengthier fighter and the one who seems to win is in Leonardo Santos, but definitely no bet. We got Lena Landsberg taking on one of everybody's. She might be a friend of the MMA Analysis at this
absolutely.
point.
Yeah.
Tanya Ebinger.
Midwest redneck.
I feel like this is like a friend, I'm not sure we're friends yet, but we're like, it's
It's gonna happen.
Keep her away
Tanya
from your girl.
Yeah, she'll pull that what she did to Laura Sanko on your girl.
She'll take your girl.
That's right. She'll take your girl. All right, Wes.
Yeah, Evinger is the homie, man. That chick is wild, dude. She'll forever be known as puking all over the ring and then fucking kissing fucking Sanko at that fight. That was fucking crazy. Yeah, I mean, Tanya isn't fighting Cyborg or Aspen Ladd in this spot. She's fighting Lena fucking Landsberg, and I fully expect Evinger to put a whooping on Lena Landsberg here. I'm not betting her at minus 275 or anything, but I think she gets the win here.
New Sean.
Yeah, that's a pretty big number, but I kind of understand. It's tough just seeing that number coming off 2 KO losses. I know those are against pretty damn good fighters in Aspen Ladd and Cyborg. But Evinger is 37, coming off 2 KO losses. It's a bit sketchy. I'm not comfortable laying that. I think she is better than Landsberg. Evinger has finished 2 of the girls that or Kunitskaya that Landsberg just lost to, so a little bit of MMA math there. So who knows? I guess the way that kind of works, Landsberg probably just beats Evinger. But I'll pick Tanya Evinger. I think she's a bit more skilled and she's tough, so I think she can kind of grit out any bad spots that she gets in this fight, and she'll take a decision.
All right. I got Landsberg a D+, Evinger a C+. I mean, I didn't like how Evinger. I'm trying to remember the fight specifically. It was the Ladd fight wasn't great, but I think Evinger's the better grappler than Landsberg. Landsberg would certainly like to keep it against the cage. I mean, she does her best work there, but that's kind of like the thing you don't want to do against Evinger, because then you're going to end up on the ground and on the bottom. So I'll take Evinger here to win. Probably by decision, but I think this line's a little steep. So I would stay away. Let's move up to I don't even know. Does anyone know about either of these two? We got Royce Aikman. I think his name is
Troy's fucking long lost cousin.
Yeah, Troy's inbred cousin taking on
a Russian,
Sergey Kondoshko. I'm not gonna break this one down. I don't think anyone wants to, but does anyone think that the Russian loses here?
No, the man with the fucking magnificent hair sweater is gonna win.
Oh, he's going with the Swede.
Wow. Is that just?
I have zero clue who these guys are. I'll be honest.
Who wants to? I guess we'll find out.
Hopefully, some cool shit happens. That's what I cheer for when I have no clue who any of these guys are.
I've seen some Sergey highlights, and that dude's crazy, but he gets into some trouble, so it should be a wild fight.
Why is he crazy?
Because he has spinning back kick knockouts and back fist shit, and but he gets into trouble doing that crazy shit. So
how it is. Yeah,
it should be a crazy wild fight at least.
We got the lesser tamer taking on
the least.
We got with two belt man Sung Bin Jo. We won't say that CC word that they like to that the hipsters like to use to describe multiple champions. We'll say the 2 belt man Sung Bin Jo.
He's got 3 belts, homie.
Oh, this is fucking
This is
serious.
a champ.
How do you get 3 fucking belts?
You fight in
I don't
Korea.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. Fighting for multiple promotions at the same time, I guess. Is Tamer going to get his 3 belts, or is this dude going to keep racking up more belts?
If this was a 5-minute fight, I would probably hammer Tamer in this spot. But, man, it's 15 minutes, so who fucking knows with that guy, man? Like, that dude's really good for 5 minutes, and he gasses like fucking few you'll ever fucking see. Honestly, I don't know much about the fucking
Is
Korean
Boogie gassed already?
Boogie's
Bit of the game
always Boogie is always gassed, and he'll still drop 30 on you.
He looks gassed. He looks fat as hell too, man. He's been. I mean, I know he's been hanging out for a month, but man, that looks.
Boogie's always fucking. He's like that, man. I'm gonna go out on a limb and just pick Tamer and Topmaster, but I'm not betting this fight.
Okay, new Sean.
Yeah, I have no idea what the deal is with the Korean fighter here. We kind of know what we're gonna get with Tamer, a good solid five minutes. Is that going to be enough here? I don't know. I'll pick him just because I think maybe he's a tiny bit undervalued. He lost to some guys. I mean, they're not terrible fighters, the guys he lost to. So I know he didn't look good in those fights past the first round, but like I said, they were decent fighters. So I'll pick them, but no clue really.
Okay, I got Tamer.
Hit it.
D.
Joe
is. I don't know what Joe is yet, but I like the multiple belt concept. Yeah, this is a tough one. I'm struggling to kind of pick a winner. Tamer certainly is skilled, but like it's just like his brother, kind of mookie. Not really an MMA fighter, more of a striker that converted to MMA. It has its flaws. Bo making the way, you know, fighting in Europe. I mean, who knows, man? This is tough call. So I'm gonna say Tamer, taking the hometown man, but this is tough. No confidence there. Jesus Christos Giagos taking on Demir Hadzovic. West.
Yeah, I kind of like Demir quite a bit in this spot, man. I think Giagos is possibly one of the worst fighters on the entire roster, man. I mean, he was in deep with fucking Hirota, who is like 70-year-old fucking Asian. Demir's he's tough, man. We talk about it all the time. He's the type of guy that you want to have some money on. You know what this guy's going to do. You know he's tough. You know he's going to look for position. He's going to try to get it in close. Get this to the mat, and he's going to hold position. So I like Demir quite a bit here. I'm not sure if he gets a finish here, but I think he could have Giagos in some bad spots late in the second and the third round. So I wouldn't put it past him getting a late stoppage here. But, yeah, I think he gets a fairly easy decision if it gets there. And I think his line's kind of low here, honestly. At minus 170, I think that's pretty good. And, I like Demir quite a bit here. He's one of my 3 favorite spots on the entire card.
New Sean?
I thought Iago was terrible his first go around with the UFC. He's got a little bit better, but yeah, like Wes said, when you're going into a tight fight with Hirota at this point, it's not a good look. Hadzovic has looked pretty decent in his UFC run. He had that loss to Alan Patrick, which is kind of a weird one, but I think that was just kind of a bad stylistic matchup for him. I think he should be able to kind of have his way with Iago. So I put Hadzovic in a parlay with a guy later on this card for 1 unit. I think he does get the finish, whether it's ground and pound or snatches a rear naked choke when Iago gives up his back. I'm not too sure, but I think he gets the finish.
I got Hadzovic a C-. His opponent a D+. This is I like Hadzovic in this fight quite a bit. I think this is a pretty safe fight. I mean,
he lands 1.4 significant strikes more than Yagos. Is much more accurate as a striker. Takedown defense is a little bit of a question mark, but I think it's more if he was taken down against better competition than he's facing here. Hadzovic, just a clean fighter. Hasn't taken too much damage in his career at all, and this fight just sets up pretty well for him. So I think the price is pretty cheap. Just minus 165, minus 170 in that range. That's a pretty good line. I think it should be about 2.25, 230, 240 in that range. So I like him, and he's also a fighter I'm betting, and will be in a parlay that I'll mention later on the card. All right, let's move on. We got a few fights left. 3 fights left on the card. We got Chris Fishgold versus Mr. Sweden. Can he really say that anymore after he's been exposed? Makwan Amirkhani. Wes.
Yeah, I mean, he can say that if he's pulling anything still that's like on his profile pic, he can call himself whatever the fuck he wants. Yeah, this is a really close fight to me, and one that I could see going a number of ways. It's probably one of the hardest fights on the card to pick, in my opinion. I think Chris Fishgold, he's pretty good. He throws a ton of volume. He's coming forward, which is always good in fights that you probably think are going to go to a decision, which I think this fight is going to get there. So that's kind of a case for Fishgold, but I think Amirkhani, I think he's a little bit better, though. I still think he's a little more technical. I don't think that Arnold Allen loss, especially a split decision, is as bad looking back now, because Arnold Allen is really, really fucking good. I think I think the Jason Knight split decision win actually looks worse, honestly, than the split decision lost to Arnold Allen. But man, this is I think it's a really close fight. I'm gonna go with Amirkhani, and no bet for me here, because like I said, I think this is probably going to get to the judges, and probably the busier guy is going to end up getting a split decision here, and more than likely that's Fishgold, but I just don't know. It's a coin flip fight to me. So Amirkhani on the pick, and no bet.
Nushan?
I'm all about fading SBG, so Amirkhani.
That's always a winner.
Amirkhani's going to go down. This guy just doesn't fight enough. He has 4 fights in the last year, or last 4 years. 4 years. 4 fights in the last 4 years. That's just not enough, and especially with when he's kind of a younger guy. I mean, now he's 30, but those are kind of prime years to really make your career take off and just really increase your skills, and it's got to be tough to do that when you're not getting in the cage enough. Like Wes said, I think Fishgold's good enough. He's got that press forward type of style. Throws a lot of volume, so I think it's going to be too much going against a guy that probably has a bit of ring rust. But it is a close fight. I just got a small 1-unit play on him. I got a shitty number at minus 135, but I just think that Fishgold's got a bit of an edge here.
Okay, I got Fishgold a C rather, and Amirkhani a C minus. It's again, volume, big advantage for Fishgold, about 1.5 significant strikes landed more per minute. And he's just a more tenacious grappler than Amirkhani is. I mean, that's Amirkhani's game, is going for takedowns and, just some kind of speculative strikes on the feet. He's had some success in the grappling department against guys who really couldn't grapple well. He's facing a guy here who can certainly grapple and is aggressive doing so. I think this is a bad matchup for Amirkhani, and Fishgold gets the W. This is one I'm looking to bet. I haven't bet it yet, but it's one I'm angling to make a play on. Chris Fishgold. 2 fights left on the card. We got Jimmy Manoa taking on Alexander Rakic. this one doesn't seem like it's going to go 3 rounds, right, Wes?
Sorry, what do you say, Jay? I was watching this fucking game, dude.
You said Manoa Rakic is likely not going to go to 3 rounds, right, Wes?
No, I think you're probably right on that one. Yeah, this one's probably going to be fireworks for as long as it lasts. Look, I'm not the biggest Rakic fan. He's still young. I think he's pretty good, but I think people are putting a little too much in his UFC wins so far. I mean, it's 3 pretty fucking Campbell soup cans that he's beaten so far, but
Yep.
You can see that there's some skills there, and he's only 27. And for me, a lot to do with this fight is just I think Jimmy is about done, man. I mean, I know the guy still. You're always going to bring that power. Even when you get into your 40s, it's always the last thing to go. I get it. But, man, this guy is pushing 40, and his last 3 fights are just, man, they're some fucking applesauce makers, man. That last fight, the shit Santos put on him, I mean, he knocked out fucking Jimmy, woke him back up, knocked him out again, I mean, it was really, really bad. And those are just career changers, especially at 39 years old, man. So, I mean, I guess he's got a puncher's chance here. If you're picking Jimmy, I guess that's your out is his puncher's chance. Cause I mean, I just can't see it any other way, man. But, in the sport today, there's just the angle of the younger, fresher up and comer against an aging vet is a money maker now in this sport. It almost hits every single time, and that's more than likely this spot. So yeah, I like Rakic here. He's one of the other spots of my 3 that I like on this card the most. So yeah, I got Rakic parlayed with somebody in the main event.
Okay. Nushan, what do you think of the co-main event here?
It should be fireworks, like you said. I think somebody is definitely going down. Both guys seem to have big power and questionable chins, especially the case with Manoa. He's been crushed like twice in the last 3 fights, and like Wes said, that Santos fight, that wasn't just a one punch knockout. That was multiple times of him getting dropped and then fighting back and then getting crushed again. Like, that is not good for the old brain. So got to worry there if you're liking Jimmy Manoa. Like Wes said again, Rakic's win list in the UFC is not very impressive. He's also been clipped a couple times in those fights, but he was able to come through. So that is a bit concerning. I think that's why the line is as low as it is, even with the bad KOs that Manoa has sustained recently. I just like Rakic here. I think he's the fresher, younger fighter. Manoa's chin is beyond gone, in my opinion, and I think Rakic is gonna land one. It is a bit scary with Rakic's defense. Hopefully he's shored that up a bit. But yeah, I like him here. I got him in a 2-unit parlay with somebody in the main event. You can kind of guess, but yeah, I think he KOs Manoa early in a big flurry.
I got both these guys a C-. Manoa has been just trending down, while Rakic has been trending up. Again, there are some concerns with Rakic's chin and like his last bout, but he recovered well and then ultimately finished. I'm with these guys that this fight ends early. Again, both power, both susceptible. Both long power, pretty high volume strikers. The total in this fight is 1.5, which is not necessarily my favorite thing, but it's basically lined at a pick 'em with the under. It's some spots minus 105. So I'm thinking that's what happens. If this doesn't end in round 1, I think it ends very early in round 2. That's the kind of. I mean, I'm not sure Manuel has like 3-round cardio at this point. If in a firefight, I just don't see it. So I think the bet here is probably the under, and the under 1.5 minus 105. Main event time. We have the man, the Swede, one of the greatest European fighters of all time. I guess probably in the top 3. Alexander Gustafsson taking on Tony Smith. Anthony Lionheart Smith.
Rocco.
Oh, is he? Rocco. That's an interesting relationship he's got. Yep. Anthony Smith. All right, Wes. Balls in the main event.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're a little maybe underselling Gus a little bit as far as the pound for pound Sweden list. Yeah, I mean, Gus is a great fighter, man. I think we kind of maybe underappreciate him now a little bit because he just doesn't fight enough. You know, it's good to actually see the guy back in the cage for in under a year. You know, so that's always good. Yeah, I mean, my feelings on here, man. He could be minus 800 here, dude. Like seriously, to me, I think this is just. Anthony Smith is going to go down as a guy to me that you're going to look back and be like, man, that dude actually got a shot against John Jones. Props to the guy. I mean, he stayed in the sport. He stayed grinding. He made it up there. But I mean, even coming into the UFC, I didn't think he was great. And his UFC run, man, he's got some wins to where he just he stayed in the fight and guys were kicking his ass so much for 2 rounds. They fucking got tired from kicking his ass for 2 rounds. And then he would get them out of there in the third or get some decisions. You know, and then, I mean, the Volkan win, that is what it is, I guess. I mean, you got to give it to him, but it was the same thing. Volkan kicking his fucking ass for 10, 12 minutes and then just gassing out. We'll always give him props for the Jones fight for not taking an easy way out. That took a lot to me, gained my respect. I think most guys would have took a DQ loss there and walked away with a belt. I respect the dude for not going out like that, not taking a title like that, and he even said it after the fight that that's no way he wanted to win. So we'll always have some respect for him for that. But man, he's in tough here, man. I think Gus wins this fight. However he wants to win it. I have Gus in a few parlays on this card and some other stuff, and also I like Gus inside the distance. I believe it's around plus 130. He's going to get Anthony Smith out of there, probably the 3rd or 4th round. For all the respect I have for Smith and what he's done in his UFC run, he's not at this level, man. He's not even close to this level, in my opinion. Gus is he's levels above this guy, and he's going to show it Saturday afternoon. Gus wins very easily.
All right, new Sean.
Yeah, we're in a lot of agreement tonight, Wes. I think this line is
that's usually good. It's usually good.
I think this line is criminally low. I honestly give Anthony Smith a puncher's chance, and that's about it. Like you said, he was able to KO some shitty over the hill fighters with chin issues in Rashad Evans and Shogun, and then all his other wins are guys that, like you said, were beating the shit out of him, and then they gassed. One thing Gus does have is a gas tank, and that's not going to happen. He is not gonna, if he's beating the crap out of Anthony Smith, he's going to finish it. And he for sure is not going to gas, so that's going to be a big problem for Anthony Smith. I think Gus's boxing is too good. I think Gus, if he's smart, probably wrestles him and honestly just subs him. That would, you take away his only chance of knocking him out. Like, Anthony Smith did show decent takedown defense against Jones, so I guess we'll see if that keeps up in this fight. Might be a bit different style of takedowns. I really like Gus here. I know he's coming off that bad beating to Jones, but he's come back from bad knockouts pretty well in his career. So I think he's gonna do it here. I got him in that 2-unit parlay with Rakic at plus 105, 1-unit parlay with Hadzovic at plus 107. I also took him by sub at plus 875 for half a unit. I thought that was kind of crazy high. I know he's got a lot of TKO wins, but I can honestly see him wrestling here, or even if he gets Smith down, Smith gives up his back and Gus chokes him out. So I think that's got a bit better shot than what the odds imply. So we'll see. I think this is going to be all Gustafsson. I think people are going to look back at this fight and be like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Gustafsson's a number 2 fighter in the light heavyweight division, and Anthony Smith had a string of good luck against some very flawed fighters.
True.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of good points. I don't know if I really need to say much. I got Gustafsson in A, Anthony Smith at B. I just keep thinking back to how Alexander Gustafsson just tooled around and just outclassed Glover Teixeira, and put on like a masterpiece performance striking. And when you think back to Anthony Smith's last fights against Jones, he had no idea what to do against a far superior skilled fighter. Obviously, Alexander is not John Jones, but he's a very skilled striker. And I think Anthony's just going to be at a loss at what to do again, and he's going to get he's just going to get outclassed on the feet. This could go to a decision, or it could be a later stoppage. I wouldn't be surprised at either, but definitely like Alexander Gustafsson here. The only surprise. Kind of a surprise strike. Somehow Gustafsson gets stunned and finished. Just seems unlikely to me. Really unlikely. So, again, Alexander Gustafsson gets the job done. That fits the parlay with Damir Hadzovic, and that's also our consensus bet of the week. Damir Hadzovic money line, parlayed with Alexander Gustafsson, and Nushan, that pays out at
plus 106.
Plus 106, Hadzovic, Gustafsson, parlay, and that does it for this week's episode. We'll continue watching the Raptors. Maybe when we're back next week, maybe, just maybe, the Raptors will make this a series. Who knows? And there's not many for Golden State anymore. That's for darn sure. That's it. All right. Thanks for joining us, and enjoy the fights.